In a peaceful little village surrounded by hills and farmland, there lived a boy named John. John was known by everyone, old villagers, farmers, shopkeepers, as the kid with a bright mind and a curious heart. Teachers admired the way he understood things quickly, and his friends enjoyed his sharp sense of humor. But John had a weakness that slowly began to hold him back. He could not concentrate. It didn't matter what he was doing, reading, studying, completing homework, or even listening to someone speak. His mind would wander away like a feather in the wind. Whenever he opened a book, he suddenly remembered a movie he wanted to watch. When he tried to study, scenes from films kept replaying in his mind, and if he sat down to work, his thoughts drifted toward exciting stories and characters he had seen on screen. John loved movies, not just a little, but too much. The stories, the action, the emotions. They pulled him away from real life, again and again. His father noticed this growing problem. One evening, as the golden sunset colored the sky, John's father sat beside him on the front porch. "John," he said softly, "your mind is like a young horse, strong, full of energy, but also wild. If you do not learn to guide it, it will run wherever it wants. And one day, it may take you far away from your goals." John nodded, but inside he thought, maybe Dad is exaggerating. Watching movies isn't that bad. Little did he know, that habit was slowly stealing his focus, his discipline, and his dreams. 1 week later, something unexpected happened. A well-respected teacher named Justine visited the village. People said he had helped hundreds of young children discover their potential, build discipline, and achieve success. Crowds formed around him. People wanted advice, blessings, or simply a few words of wisdom. John's father saw this as the perfect opportunity and decided to take John to meet the wise teacher. Justine sat under a tree, peaceful and calm, as villagers gathered around him. When John's father explained the problem, John's lack of concentration and his habit of constantly thinking about movies, Justine listened without interrupting. Then he looked directly at John. "My child," he said gently, "your problem is not uncommon. Many minds wander, but the ones who succeed are the ones who tame their wandering minds." He picked up a glass filled to the brim with water and handed it to John. "Walk around my garden," Justine said, "and make sure you do not spill a single drop." John thought, that sounds easy enough. He held the glass carefully and started walking. But the garden was full of life. Birds chirped loudly. The breeze rustled the leaves. Some children were laughing and running around. A dog barked nearby. Each time John turned his head to look, a few drops fell. When he returned to Justine, nearly half the water was gone. Justine looked at the glass and asked, "Why did you spill so much?" John sighed. "I got distracted. I kept looking around." Justine nodded slowly. "This water represents your focus. The garden represents the world. Distractions will always be there. Movies, noises, people, fears, doubts. If you do not learn to control your mind, you will keep spilling your potential." John felt something shift inside him. For the first time, he truly understood what his father had been trying to say. The next morning, John woke up early. He decided to change, not by force, but by building habits step by step. He created a simple routine. He woke up at the same time every day. He reduced his movie-watching time, saving it only for weekends. He planned his day in small tasks so he didn't feel overwhelmed. He practiced meditation for a few minutes each morning. Meditation was not easy at first. His mind kept wandering to movie scenes and characters. But each time he pulled it back, he grew a little stronger. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. John began to notice real changes. He could study longer without getting tired. He remembered things better. His teachers praised his improvement. His confidence grew. Even villagers began to say, "John has changed. Something in him feels more focused, more mature." A year later, news spread about a national competition, a test of intelligence, speed, and problem-solving. Students from all over the country would compete. John signed up. Not because he wanted to win, but because he wanted to test how far he had come. The exam hall was filled with nervous students. Some kept flipping through their notes. Others whispered anxiously. A few looked terrified. But John closed his eyes and took a deep breath. He imagined himself holding Justine's glass of water again. He remembered the lesson. Focus on one thing at a time. The questions were tough. Many students panicked. Some gave up halfway. But John remained calm, steady, focused. He solved each problem one by one, like a quiet flow of thoughts. When the results were announced, the whole hall erupted in applause. John had won first place. John's father hugged him tightly, tears of pride in his eyes. Justine, who had been invited as a guest, smiled warmly. "John," he said, "you have proven that a disciplined mind is more powerful than talent, luck, or intelligence. You have mastered the most difficult skill of all, the skill of focus." From that day on, John was known in the village as the boy who learned to control his mind. Children looked up to him. Parents used him as an example. And John felt grateful that he had chosen to change his life. A message for you. John's story is not just his. It is a message for anyone who struggles with distraction. If this story touched you or gave you even a tiny spark of motivation, don't let it disappear. Train your mind. Start small. Be consistent. Because the moment you decide to control your thoughts, your entire future begins to change. Share this story with someone who needs hope. Like, follow, or subscribe for more stories of strength, discipline, and success. And remember, your journey starts today, right now.